Welcome to this daily digital micro webinar on creating engaging quizzes and polls and capturing anonymous feedback from your audience using Mentimeter. So, as I said, what I'm going to do is go through a Mentimeter presentation that I've set up for you and then show you how I've set it up. So first of all, to use Mentimeter, you need to register an account with www.mentimeter.com, not menti.com. Menti is for the people that you are presenting to. You give them that link, you go to mentimeter.com. There is a free license available to everyone, and we do have a limited number of enterprise licenses for Cardiff Met staff. I'll go over the differences between those a bit later on. Okay, so you register an account, you create a new presentation, and then you add your slides. So I've added a slide here, this instruction slide, and I've set the type of that slide to be instructions. Okay, that's all you do with that one. It's a new type of slide, and as I said, it does make it more obvious for participants what they need to do to join in with your presentation. Okay, so as the presenter, I use when I'm ready, I use the present button to present the slides. And as I've done with you, I've asked you to join by visiting menti.com and using the code that's on the screen. As the presenter now, if I click on the next slide button, we obviously go on to the next slide. And this is a relatively new type of slide as well, pin-on picture. So if you tap the screen or click the screen to let me know where you are, apologies about the size of the map. So if you're in South Wales, you can use the image on the left. If you're not, you can use the image on the right. Okay, so it's going to test my geography now. So we've obviously got some people in central Cardiff. We have someone up on the way to Pontypridd, probably Church Village. And we have someone in the Amazon rainforest by the looks of it. And I'm guessing that is Pakistan, maybe. Someone on the west coast of Africa, Liberia, maybe. Okay, so that can be used to as an icebreaker. You can also specify the right answer. Obviously, there's no right answer here, but I can use the settings on the right to show a correct area of the image. So I added that slide, I set the question here, and I uploaded an image. So moving on to the next slide. Have you used Mentimeter before? So this is a poll question type. So please let me know if you've used Mentimeter before. So out of the 11 people here, 7 have used it as a participant, 3 have used it as a presenter, and 3 people haven't used it at all. Well, how does that work? Because that doesn't add up to 12 or 13. Well, I've added this question type. The type of this question is multiple choice. And I've set the content, set the question and the options. And I've customized that by changing the layout to this donut rather than bar chart. And I've allowed participants to choose multiple answers. So that explains why the count doesn't add up to the number of participants. Next question. How do you rate Mentimeter? So on your screen, you should see 3 questions or 3 statements and a scale for each. So I'd like you to rate it as a learner participating, as a presenter presenting, or for ease of use in general. If you haven't done one of those things, then there's a skip button next to each slider. So if you click on that, okay. So with this one, we are using the scales question type. I've added my question and my statements, and I've changed the output from traditional sliders to this spider chart to get this the spider chart of the answers. So these are the averages. And I've set my scales here, my dimensions, and in fact, I picked one from the popular examples. Okay, so you don't have to think of your own scales. And I allowed you to skip single statements if it doesn't apply to you. So if you've never presented, obviously we don't want to know what you think of it in terms of presenting. Next question. Okay, so this is a quiz question type. So this is for synchronous quizzes, quizzes where you are there at the same time as your learners and where the learners are there at the same time, as opposed to asynchronous where you can be there at different times. Okay, so if you answer this question right, you get points. If you answer it quickest, you get most points. So what are the limitations of a free Menti account? Can you have a guess at this? Okay, so it's not limited in terms of the number of presentations you can create. You can create an unlimited number. Neither is it limited to the number of people who can participate. The main limitation of a free Menti account is that you're limited to 5 slides of question type and 2 quizzes per presentation. Let's move on to the next slide and then hopefully I can continue in terms of my voice. So we get a leaderboard. So Sarah's in the lead. She's answered the question quickest. Last question type, slightly different. And I've told you the answer. See if you can remember it. And this time I want you to type it in. Okay. Okay, good. So the correct answer is synchronous. Synchronous quiz where everyone's doing it together. Mentimeter is suited to that type of quiz. Things like the quiz activity in Moodle are asynchronous, so you can give them a quiz and your learners can do it at whenever they wish. Mentimeter is really good for synchronous quizzes where you do it together, either in a live teaching setting or through something like Teams. So we're obviously doing here. So just to go over the settings for those 2 questions. Okay, so for the first question, we use the select answer type, and we set up our questions and our answers. Remember to select the right answer, otherwise it can never be right. And you can decide whether faster answers get more points and set things like the time limit and whether there's any music. Okay, so this is the type answer question. And you can see that I've put in multiple correct answers. You know, if someone put in synchronous learning or spelt synchronous wrong, you can set up multiple correct answers. And I gave you a bit longer to do that because you need to type it in. Okay, so almost there, thankfully, for my voice. Okay, so only 2 people got that right, Sarah and Lee. So Sarah has won that game for them. Okay, so lastly, just to get your impressions of this micro webinar, please put in 1 keyword per box in terms of how you would describe it. So has it been useful? Has it not been useful? Has it been fun? Has it been boring? Has it been irrelevant? Has it been relevant? Put 1 answer per box and we'll build a word cloud based on that. Okay, so mostly positive there. Glad to see that. So obviously the more frequent the response in the answers, the larger the word appears in this word cloud. So I used the word cloud question type here to capture that. So another advantage of Mentimeter is you can capture anonymous feedback. So if students are more reluctant to join in when they can be identified, such as through the Teams chat, you can use Mentimeter to capture that anonymous feedback using the word cloud here or open-ended question types or Q&A. Finally, the other thing I've done is to set the theme, set it to dark, just if you need a bit of variety. And lastly, I'll provide some links to further training that Mentimeter, the company, are offering, and I'll explain how you can get those enterprise licenses if you are a member of staff. Okay, are there any questions?